Our society is really totally nuts, Fauci wrote in emails now made public, USA Today story. Emails sent by Dr. Anthony Fauci in the early days of the pandemic reflect the thoughts of a patient but wary man who was flabbergasted by his overnight celebrity. Hundreds of emails were obtained by the Washington Post and other organizations through Freedom of Information Act requests. Fauci responds to hundreds of interrogators, many he doesn't know, often in-depth answers. Fauci also corresponded on multiple occasions with George Gao, a top infectious disease official in China. Gao sent an encouraging note when Fauci was being blasted by Trump supporters who blamed him for supporting social distancing rules that closed schools, tanked the economy, and threatened Trump's re-election prospects. Thank you for your kind note, Fauci replied 3 days later. All is well despite some crazy people in this world. Fauci marveled at an April 2020 story titled Cuomo Crush and Fauci Fever, Sexualization of These Men is a Real Thing. On the internet, Fauci forwarded the email to someone whose identity was redacted, urging the person to click on the link. It will blow your mind. Fauci wrote, our society's really totally nuts. It continues. Another story by Business Insider. A leading scientist said the world needs to understand the origins of COVID-19 to prevent COVID-19. Okay, this goes into a different email. I'll stop right here. Go with the email. So tell me, Fauci emails, what are your thoughts? Gerard, you can go first. Try to hold it together, by the way.
Oh, man. Bro, first of all, whoever wrote that glowing review, I was watching CNN last night because I hate myself, and they were like, this man, those emails showcase the one honest man in a dishonest organization. I was like, I'm going to say stuff that's going to get you kicked off YouTube, bro. I got to calm it down for just a second. Dude, I got kicked off of Facebook. I got kicked off. I got demonetized. 120,000 plus followers. I had built this thing over years. National tours. I had all my videos. I was selling my tours. And Facebook, I woke up one day and they just said, that's it. You have restricted access, restricted reach. My videos used to, I used to put out a video, and no matter how bad the video was, I can count on 100,000 views. Fine, whatever. Now I put out a video, if I get 10,000 views, it's a good video, right? Like I had 15 videos get over 1 million views. Now if I get a video gets over 10,000, it's a big, big thing. Facebook just turned me off. They turned the spigot off, and the money I made went away. And you know what I did for them to do that? I shared an article from the ex-CDC director who said that it's very likely that this disease came from the Wuhan lab. Now, I had been skeptical, in fairness, I had been skeptical of everything I had been told from the beginning. I was very, very, very cautious when this first happened. But then after 2 months, it really took me 2 months to be like, man, there's something real weird about this. Was everything that they described, that there's, anybody who, if you don't wear a mask, if you're in a closed air circuit area, if you're not wearing gloves, you're at extreme danger. And my first thought was, growing up in New York, man, I'm like, the homeless are dead. There's going to be homeless piling up in the streets. This is going to be a nightmare. My God, these people sleep on the subways on top of each other. They live in squalor. They eat food out of the garbage. These people are going to be dead. Mm-hmm. And then when they weren't, and everybody was inside, and it was like, the homeless came out like deer in the middle of the night, and I'm like, man, these people are fine. Something's not being told. And then they started with this mask, and the mask stuff, as if this was like a hazmat suit. And now I've worked construction. Anybody who's ever drywalled, anybody who's ever sanded in one of those masks knows when they take that mask off and their mouth is completely full of particles, that's BS. Anybody who's ever farted through underwear and jeans and still smelt it knows it's BS. The fabric isn't doing nothing. If you're smelling that methane, then a virus can get through that mask. They placeboed us. And you're looking at this emails and they're trying to cover this stuff up as if, he told the mask because we didn't have enough masks. No! That's not the story.
What's interesting about this, Gerard, here's what's interesting about the story. It's interesting because just a week and a half ago, he said it could be man-made. Then the emails were released. So why did he say a week and a half ago it could be man-made? Then the emails were released.
Freedom of Information Act.
Did he say it could be man-made before the emails being released because he wanted to make sure he said that before it was released?
Pat, did you see what the very first email he sent was?
Which one?
This was in January 31st.
Okay.
This man doesn't just need jail. He needs to be expatriated. We need to slingshot this dude over to Beijing. They can have this much. The first thing that he did was he found out that this virus, 1% of it is going to show that it was man-made. And the first thing he did is call his assistant and call his major donor and make sure that we are not doing gain-of-function research in Wuhan anymore, right? That was the first thing that he did. And then he goes for months and months and months acting like he doesn't know what this virus is and where it came from when it was the NIH, his place that paid for the research at the lab for this gain of function. The very first question he asked was, is it gain of function? Then he goes before the Senate, and Rand Paul specifically asked him. Rand Paul, who's a doctor, mind you. He's a doctor, not a lawyer, a doctor. He asked him, he's like, are you doing gain of function? No, I'm not doing gain of function. Is this guy who you're in contact to doing gain of function? And Fauci does that smirk, that if he does gain of function, he's doing it within the rule. Dude, he knew from the jump exactly what this was and exactly what it meant, and he lied to us from the beginning. This man needs to be expatriated. This guy stole 2 years of our lives.
Tom.
2 years of our lives, he stole it.
And I thought I didn't like Fauci.
No.
You know what? Candace Owens says that he should go to prison. I mean, that's a pretty strong statement. You know, here's my thing. Anybody that is out there and it is intuitive, you saw what I saw. And here's the first thing I saw about Fauci. He's a weasel, okay? That's the first thing I thought. The flip-flopping, he's weak, he's affected, and it just comes across in all his press conferences. He's the highest paid employee. Like we've talked about, there needs to be a federal investigation into this. This is serious. I mean, if China got away with this and he's having emails with them saying, we're going to get through this together. I mean, he's literally saying this like they're our ally. He just doesn't get it. And I'm saying his age is a factor. He's 80 years old. He's 30 years past his prime. He needed to go a long time ago. But here, and you know, this is going to sound funny and like I'm making fun of it, but he literally has one function. He is the mascot of the coronavirus.
That's right.
They put him in front of it like a little dancing clown, and he's the little happy, cherubic little... This guy right here, that is Fauci. He is the mascot for the coronavirus. Cheerleader, wear your mask, don't wear your mask. You know, I even invented the Fauci dance.
2 masks now.
Should I show him the Fauci dance? Pat, you want to see this? This is the Fauci dance. That is the Fauci
I knew
dance
you had
right
dance
there.
moves, buddy. That's so impressive.
You know, he should be like the Phoenix Suns gorilla,
And
the Philly fanatic. He should go to Disneyland.
You talk about mascots and you talk about theater, Tom. Every jerk on Twitter, every single person in Brooklyn, New Jersey, that was every Karen that was screaming, "Trust the science! Trust the science! Trust the science!" There you go. This is it. Trust your science. You blindly, these people in this freaking obedience cult who blindly trust the science. This is what you get. This is the science that you blindly trusted, and you bullied everybody into trusting as well. This is nonsense, and he deserves to be held accountable. And jail is not too far.
My whole point is he's not cut out for this position. He should have been gone a long time ago.
How did he survive Trump?
I don't know if
Trump
it's
fired
about
everybody
that.
but him.
Let me tell you how. Loyalty is created. Loyalty is created during tough times, and how you treat somebody during tough times, right? Meaning, when everything is good, it's like, yeah, everything is good. And then all of a sudden somebody's going through some stuff. You're like, hey, man, you know, distance yourself from that individual, right? Okay. Where am I going with this? Just a year ago, who was the next Democratic presidential leading candidate in America? A year ago. Cuomo. He was the biggest celebrity. His book deal made him $5 million. He won an Emmy. Every day we heard Cuomo, right? What happened 3-4 months ago all of a sudden? All of a sudden, 3-4 months ago, stories started coming out where Schumer didn't like him. You know, not didn't like him. They wanted all the stories with Me Too movement. You know, you had
all the women
Pelosi,
coming out, all the
AOC. Everybody all of a sudden distanced themselves from who?
Well, it turned out his policies ended up killing more people than saving.
Well, sure. But, I mean, you're right. But there's a big difference between a Cuomo and a Fauci. Here's where I'm going with this. Here's what could potentially happen with Fauci. Fauci, within the next 6 months, if any of these stories get the kind of credibility that they get and create momentum, watch how quickly everybody on the left is going to turn against this guy. Watch how quickly this guy's going to be on an island all by himself. Here's what you have to think. Go to Fauci in his bedroom. It's 11:30. He's sleeping at night.
You think he stays up that late?
That 100%. I think right now he is. Imagine it's 11 o'clock at night and he's sitting in his office or he's done watching the news by himself. Wife, everybody's asleep. He's by himself, right? What's he thinking right now? Who's he talking to right now?
He's feeling a crumble.
Who is he feeling supports him right now? Who has his back right now? Is he sitting there saying the media has his back right now? Maybe. Is he sitting there saying, Biden, Pelosi, those guys have his back right now? I don't know. Is he sitting there saying China has his back? NIH has his back? CDC has his back? Who? Bill Gates? How many emails with Bill Gates? How many emails with Bill Gates? Zuckerberg. 24. What are you doing communicating with Zuckerberg? Bill Gates. Who has his back right now? Who is backing him up right now? Look, how many things were considered a conspiracy theory? Let's go through them. One, it was what? It was man-made. That was one of them, right? That was one of the things that...
That was a conspiracy theory, but a Chinese guy eating a pangolin wasn't. We were supposed to buy that.
So, but that's one. The other one was hydroxychloroquine was what? No, it doesn't work, right?
And then it works.
So a part of the email maybe gives a hint that maybe it does work, right? Hey, maybe it does have some kind of positive effects. Face masks don't work. They do work. Double masking, it doesn't work. It does work. Okay, we have to figure that out. Lockdown was necessary. Was it necessary? Did we really need to do a lockdown?
Close all the schools.
Yeah, schooling. All of this stuff that you sit there and you look at, those things have to be investigated.
Have to.
Simple as that. They have to be investigated.
We deserve answers.
But I will tell you, like this, he will be dropped.
100%.
Like this, it will be. Remember, Comey was a hero. He went up there and he's doing this, he's doing that, he's doing this. And then the one time right before the election, Comey said what? There's very likely that Hillary Clinton's emails, and then he flipped.
Yep.
He flipped, and then that hurt Hillary's election chances.
Yeah.
No, I don't know if you remember this or not.
It was right before the election.
Comey was their hero. Well, we have to listen to him because he is the FBI director. We have to listen to what he has to say. Then the moment he flipped, all of a sudden, where's his credibility? Who is he? Well, this is not fair. He shouldn't be saying these kinds of things 2 weeks before the election. Fauci, Comey, similar camps, different areas of the camp, and like this, he'll be all by himself on an island.
My sister,
within probably a couple weeks.
I think it's going to go quick, and I think if you all of a sudden start seeing additional stories, stories that could go back to AIDS, stories that could go back 40 years, stories that could go back to women, stories that could go back the degree he got, stories that could go back, he was never really a valedictorian, just nonsense stories like that could come out. You already kind of know what's going to happen right after that. Go ahead.
My family are Democrats. My sister in particular is a pretty staunch Democrat, right? And this was my message to her, because she's actually, speaking of, if anything good has come out of the last 2 years, they're a little more open to getting off that left hard line. They're a little more open to taking in some new information, okay? And as a libertarian, I've been ripping Republicans for years, and I marched against Bush and Cheney in college. I was anti-war. I still am anti-blood for oil. And then I told her, I was like, Bush and Cheney are stumping for Biden now. That should be pause for reflection for you, okay? And it was, in fairness to her, it was. One thing to take away from this, and it's a very good point you just made, Patrick, is that they're dumping these guys because they are liars. We are in the age of accountability, like I said before. Democrats, if you're listening to this, okay, you are America's gas pedal. Republicans are America's brake. We need both the gas pedal. We need both the brake. We need you just as much as we need DeSantis. But we need you to stop giving your side a break. You give these people a free pass all the time. There is never any accountability in your camp. Please, for the love of all that is holy, if you are listening to this, stop with the hero worship. Stop with the cult of personality. Dump these people. Dump them. If they're wrong, they're wrong. Bill Maher, to his credit, who I disagree with politically, he has already jumped off the Fauci bandwagon. It's been a month already. Guys, if they are wrong, they bankrupted your neighbor. They convinced you that everybody that you interacted with was a threat to your health. They convinced you to view your fellow man as a threat. They locked people in their homes, bankrupted them, killed them. How many people with addiction? How many people with anxiety, suicidal thoughts that they locked in a room to serve their political ambitions? Guys, you got to hold these people accountable. This can't be a tribal war.
I mean, here's what's going to happen. I think as we age, we reason better, and I bank on a small percentage of people to say, hey, what the hell is really going on? I'm getting a lot of people right now that are contacting me saying, look, I'm a Republican who questioned Trump. I'm a Democrat who questioned my side. There's a lot of weird things going on right now. I just much rather find out exactly what's going on. I just want the truth. Not everybody wants the truth, Gerard. You have to realize there's a lot of people that don't want the truth. There's a lot of people that would much rather just live a regular life. Don't tell me everything that's going on. let me just go about myself. There's a very small community of people that are actually going to adjust. Very small. The percentage is not as big as you think. It's a 5 to 10%. It's a small margin of people that are going to sit there and say, you know what, you're right. I'm going to go investigate a little bit more. Let's see what's going to be taking place. And I think the next 3-6 months, believe it or not, I think things are going to move very, very quickly. And we will learn a lot about what happened. So if you enjoyed this little short segment from the podcast that we did, here's another short segment to watch. Or if you want to see the entire podcast, click over here. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.